created to have some fun together, sharing and singing. So, join and enjoy.
Our love for opera brings us together. Thanks for being with us in this trip.
Dans les cieux pas du matin, et là les torrents de thé, pays sous la pelle.
I am so sure that most of you are not familiar with this lovely melody. Today, I was just telling Katia that in fact I am going to call this one a rarity. It is a very peculiar music that we are going to be talking about in detail. It's not like talking about, we recently talked about Salut à la France, which is a lovely melody. It is not Tornami a vagueggiare. Tan, tarararan, tan, tarara. It is not any of those melodies that are in a way predictable or easy, that are sticky. This is a very, very, very particular way of composing, and this is what is going to be our topic today. J'ai vu passer les rondelles by the Belgian composer Eva Delacqua, that I am also pretty sure that 99% of people don't know anything about her. There is very little information about her, in fact. And it is, if you allow me the expression, and please don't kill me, don't sacrifice me for that, it's like she was a one hit wonder. Because this is, in fact, the only melody that really people know from Eva Delacqua. She was the daughter of an Italian father and a Welsh mother, and that's how, because the name Eva dell'Acqua doesn't sound any Belgian at all. It sounds pretty Italian, in fact. But
Not at all.
let's get to talk about it. And the first thing that I wanted to have the conversation on, Katia, I know the version of Mado Robin, of course, one of the highest coloraturas ever, the stratospheric coloratura. And I also know the version of Miss Dessay, Nathalie Dessay. And I am going to be hated for the second time today because I really didn't like any of them. I, these are my thoughts. If you people don't agree, let us know. Um, they really don't get the melody. You, uh, I find Natalie, who is a very good actress and who has done very interesting stuff, seems not to understand what the melody is about, and Mado Robin is unable to pass the emotion of the melody either. Because what you just did, it's a very nice message of a girl that just saw a bird passing. So it's kind of intimate and happy. You're telling the story. But when you listen to Nathalie Dessay, it's like she says, I am a buying two sodas because I want to go to the park. It's like that. She could have said anything, and you don't buy it from Natalie. I was just walking my dog when I saw that it ran. It's it's dumb. It's boring. I don't know why Natalie failed at this one. Maybe I can get it from Madame Robin. She was not an expert in melodies that take some emotion. Robin was everything spectacular, so she was not really in that kind of music. But from Natalie, I am surprised. What are your thoughts? What do you think of this melody before you reach the ornaments?
Well, I think that I agree with you. Sometimes coloratura sopranos are blessed but also cursed.
Okay.
Beautiful. and no expressing emotions. Fortunately, I approached this song with Lily Pond's.
I don't know that one.
So it was a very interesting interpretation of this beautiful song, and exactly what caught my eye, it was that I heard something pretty sweet, pretty intimate, and the melody made sense with the intention of the voice. So that's what I tried, not to imitate, but to apply in my own version.
Because, and let's start talking about this beautiful melody. Let me put it on the screen. Let me see. Okay, let me see that one. Uh, yeah. So you're about to see my screen now, and now you can see the score there, and we have Eva del Agua, the starting, and we have the words here. Je veux passer l'hirondelle. And this one has a translation in English, which remember, the translations in English for most of the scores, the music scores, are usually horrible. This time, let me tell you why. The language here, the French used here, is very typical French. This is not super sophisticated French, and what we have here is a super sophisticated use of English language for something that doesn't need to be like that. So, j'ai vu passer les rondelles. When you say, "Oh, I just saw the swallow pass," those are the words, and they say in English, "Oft I've seen the swift swallow." Complete out of place. But she says that she has seen this beautiful bird pass dans le ciel pur du matin, in the beautiful clear skies of the morning. It is not Dart 3, the clear morning blue. It's so as, as I have seen this beautiful bird pass in the bright, clear sky of the morning. Look at what a beautiful scene. Think of yourself maybe in a balcony. You just woke up, or maybe you're just taking your tea or doing something beautiful. You open your window and you see a bird crossing the sky. And that's a very beautiful thing to see. And it is, in a way, I wouldn't like to say realistic, but it is realistic and it is natural. Even when there is a sunset, and I think most of you would agree, it is the sunset. You look at a very very beautiful sun, and then you see a number of birds crossing through the sky, and you say, "Man, it is beautiful." What you expect the soprano to do is to pass that beautiful emotion. Je veux passer l'hirondelle. With beauty, with emotion. Not, I was walking my dog as I was one at the park. No.
There's nothing wrong with walking your dog.
There's nothing wrong because dogs are beautiful, excellent. But if you're going to tell, even if you're talking about your dog, which you absolutely love, and we know that Katia loves Milou, a very, very beautiful girl, you couldn't talk like that's what they are doing, and that is not what the melody is about. You're inviting us to join you into this scene where you are watching a very beautiful bird cross the sky. And the melody goes on. Elle allait, and this one I also loved a lot. Elle allait attire vers le pays où l'appelle. And where is she going? She's going with the strength of her wings. She's going to the country, to the land where she's being called. So she hears, this bird hears the call of nature, maybe, like, ducks, and there are many migratory birds, that they know that their destination is there. So nature is calling them. And I see this bird crossing the sky, the very beautiful morning sky, and I think to myself that nature is calling this bird to his destination. That's beautiful. That's truly beautiful. There is no need to turn it into a ta da ta ta da ta ta. You see, of course I am exaggerating, but I am exaggerating because I am very upset of the things that I have heard with a very beautiful melody. So, what comes next? Vers le pays où l'appelle, to the country, the land where they are calling her, le soleil et le jasmin. The English, don't pay attention to translation in English. Again, it's horrible. Doesn't make any sense. Because it says that the sun is the jasmine is the flower. The sun is the flower. So if you picture, birds are always called, they feed from flowers. So the story is telling that this bird sees the sun as the flower she's trying to reach. Again, this is a very beautiful thing to see. If you think that this bird is crossing the sky to a land that nature is calling her, and you see that the bird thinks that the sun is the bird that she wants to reach, it's a poem. It's beautiful. And then, j'ai vu passer l'hirondelle, and then start the ornaments, but now you have to take that into account, because if you're talking of the emotion of this beautiful thing you have to do, you have to put your voice into that beautiful emotion. Because if you're coming from this very, very beautiful, le soleil, le jasmin, j'ai vu passer l'hirondelle, and then appears the ornaments of Olympia, then it makes no sense. You can't start being a poem, telling people a melody, a very beautiful melody, and then jump like you're Olympia doing ornaments. Yeah, you even move like one, right? So that's where the tricky or the difficulty of this piece of music resides, because and I'm going to ask Katia about it. Technically, it's not that challenging from the point of view of the emission of the height of the notes and the amount of ornaments, because coloraturas can do many times much more difficulties and much higher notes. But you have to embellish the sound, the ornaments into this beautiful emotion. But tell us about it.
Yes, I think that if we pay attention to our text and what the instrument is doing, it should solve a lot of things when you start to sing a song like this one. If you pay attention to the way a swallow flies, it's not an eagle, it's not a nightingale, it's not a hummingbird. A swallow has a very soft way to fly. It just floats on the air. That's the way they move their wings. So your voice should imitate that idea. And if you're following that line, it shouldn't be a problem to sing something like J'ai vu passer les vendées. And that's it, because you don't need to make an effort. You're not singing Lacme, you're not singing Lucha de la Mermur. Je veux passer les montées, je veux passer les montées. Sometimes when we face this kind of passages, uh, what I say to my students is, you're already studied every single note, every single pitch. You have it in your mind. Just stretch the first note. But it's the same note in some way, so it shouldn't be more complicated.
And also the descending, going back to the low register, should be a natural consequence of what you just did, because you are sort of wrapping up that idea. Uh, because we have mentioned in other programs, because when people are starting to take their lessons in singing, all the CR problems, oh my god, there are two legaturas here and they have a gruppetto here and they have got to descending, and that horrible uncomfortable note that I have never been able to perform. So many of all those things get in your mind, and you forget that in this case, the composer, Eva del Acqua, I think, these are my thoughts, that she really got inspired on watching birds fly.
Oh, yes.
Because as you just explained, if you think of that, then it seems natural how the music is evolving. How she's going, and she's not keeping the high note at least in this group of notes. She's not keeping it for much longer. It's not trying to emphasize anything in particular. It shows the evolution of what I am watching the bird do, and going back to my state of mind of control of watching, in a way, be, if not surprised, be captured of the beauty that I am seeing. And my voice is just passing that message of the beauty I am seeing. So,
That's
of
it.
of course, you can be tempted to prove that you can sing much higher, and we know that you can sing much higher. But the purpose here is to,
And you will.
you could add a thrill, yeah, you could do 1,000 here things here, right? Uh, but that is not the point, because if you do that, if you keep the B or any of the other notes for much longer, the music loses sense. Then you say, so it's like when we talk about Mozart. When you ask something that Mozart didn't ask for, you say like, wait a second. Why is that note exaggerated? Why were those sounds added? Why there is much more volume that one expects from that? It's the same here. You add or you keep the high note for much longer, and it's not going to work. You're going to break the construction of how the melody is flowing. But let's keep moving with the text. C'est Je l'entends suivi des yeux, le vol et la voyageuse. And here she's confirming what we were saying. And I see the words in English and it kills me. Long I strained my eager eyes, where she vanished in the azure. And that's not what the words in French are. It says, I spent a long time following her with my eyes. What is the composer telling? And I am sure that you have done it yourself, because I have done it myself. You're looking in the sunset or in the morning and you see the group of birds passing and you really follow them with your eyes. You follow and you say, hey, they are playing. Hey, they are coming back. Hey, look at this. Maybe not speaking, yeah, right? But your mind is following them. And that's what the composer is telling us. J'ai longtemps suivi les yeux. For a good amount of time, I followed her with my eyes. Le vol de la voyageuse. This flight of the traveler. Here the expression voyageuse, it's important because it is related to what we explained earlier. She recognizes this is a bird that travels from one place to another. Which, if you think about it, and you will agree with me, this is what makes this melody so beautiful. It's telling you that this bird has seen so many things, so many lands, so many trees or forests and people, and that's what captured the composer, le vol de la voyageuse. So it is not because, oh, I have four syllables here, I am going to write down voyageuse just to make it fit. There is an understanding of what she wanted to pass, the message she wanted to convey in here. She really loves this traveling bird.
Mhm.
The travel, because it is not talking about any other bird like a colibri, they are beautiful as well. But I am looking, she's crossing the sky, she's heading for the sun because she thinks the sun is the jasmine that feeds her. And as she has crossed so many lands, I spent a good amount of time looking at this bird that has known so many places. It's like you honestly admire and respect the bird. And she moves on. So we can see from here that the composer has a very, if you allow me the expression, is a very sensitive soul.
Mhm.
Her soul is very sensitive to this purity, to this beauty. She decided to compose about a bird. And so the lyric says, Depuis mon âme rêveuse, l'accompagne par les cieux. Again, she's confirming what we have already said. And now my own soul rêveuse. We don't have that many. No, we do have many people who follow us from Paris. So our dear people from Paris, the top city that follows us, again, thank you very much for that. You know that expression of the âme rêveuse. It's, let me see if I can explain it in English. When you say that someone has the âme rêveuse, it's like when you're speaking of a poet, of an artist, the soul of a person who can daydream, of an artist. Because you know that when you see a painter and the painter is painting, he's not just doing this. He's putting his soul, his emotions in the mix of colors, in the textures, in the perspective. That's what Eva is telling us. Depuis mon âme rêveuse, my own soul that daydreams as an artist is following the bird. You see, it's not the mechanical of, yeah, there goes a bird. The attention of my own soul has been captured by the flight of this bird. If you already knew the song, maybe you are surprised to see how much message it conveys. It really is a great, great song. And so she has just told us, Depuis mon âme rêveuse, l'accompagne par les cieux. I know that I am here. Me, I am here. She's there. My soul is now with her. Of course, mystically speaking, now my soul is traveling with her. My soul is no longer with me here on my feet. My soul is now traveling with her and crossing lands. You see, that really is beautiful. It's not me observing her any longer. Now it's me,
With her.
my soul in the sky with her. That is amazing. Again, that just tells us about what a sensitive soul Eva del Agua has. Because only when you can be this sensitive to the beauty of nature, you can write something like this.
Yeah.
She was not taken away by an easy melody, something that could be predictable and sticky. She committed to herself to find the right words
find the right way to put it into music. And after having said that now my soul is with her, we go again to the ornaments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about this part, or show us and tell us a little about this start of the new phase of ornaments.
Well, I think that the first thing we have to have in mind is the two, because that's gonna prepare not just vocally but emotionally the next ornament. You are not singing Olympia like you just said, so it's like your soul is going with swallow. Oh, please, Mr. Beard. So now your soul is traveling in the way that the pitches moves. There's no need to yell. It's just to move like the bird.
And also, in this series of notes, that if they were sung much faster, this would be Rossini, but it's not. It takes it time to develop so that you can travel along with the bird. Also, you have to keep in mind that what I would say is that the composer, remember that this part she has just confirmed, my soul is now one with the bird. The sounds that my throat or that I am emitting myself are in fact now one with the movement of the bird.
Mm-hmm.
That's why now if you notice there are way more ornaments than we had before. Because before it was the human admiring from a distance. Oh, the bird is going there. Oh, it's beautiful. All of that. But now, when I have said my spirit, my soul is with her, now I immediately jump with much, uh, many more notes, many more ornaments. Because now it is not a human voice. Or yes, it is a human voice because you're singing, but now it's a human voice one with the bird. And again, that is beautiful. And after that one, after what Katia just presented, we have more. I was going to say more problems, but
Well, there are two choices. You can use the easiest one.
and remember that Katia always says that nothing is difficult. If you study,
Of
everything is
course.
easy. So of course she's not going to accept that these are problems.
Or not.
Um, but maybe a word of advice here, because we have these um, beautiful dots accompanying a number of our notes, which can be tricky if your whole technique is not solid. You can easily derail when you have these guys giving this particular sound to the note. But I would rather have you explain how to go for this part.
Okay. It is challenging because the ornaments are doing something different. It is an answer the instrument to the voice, but they're not doing exactly the same. Like sometimes we can feel in Lacme when the ornaments and the instruments are doing the same notes, even when it's not the same octave. But it's higher, but it's the same pitch. It's easier, and here it's not. So you have to be very well studied and very confident on what you're singing to don't lose the pitch. That's what can be tricky. What can be tricky too, it is to make the staccatos, yes, from your diaphragm, but try to don't sing like don't try to sing note by note because that will be exhausting and you are not gonna finish the song. And you have a very extreme roller coaster cadenza ahead. So your diaphragm has to be working with just one movement, and the staccatos are articulated higher. So you take a deep breath, and you're not, because no, that's not gonna work.
And also the quality of the sound is horrible. If you do it like that, it's like pushing. It sounds like push. The sound doesn't sound natural, and it is important that the singer is comfortable because she hasn't finished. There are things to come, and as you said, if you complicate yourself here, you're not going to make it to the end. And people just notice that you are starting what they celebrate the most, which are the ornaments. So you have to be confident that you can progress because there is something that is usually not told or not explained, and maybe we should do it. Of course, all composers and all styles and the schools of the types of and genders have their way of evolving drama. Sometimes it is a very delicate evolution of drama, as it would be the case of Mozart. Sometimes everything at the end, like Bellini. Sometimes your complete life is difficult, such as in Rossini. But you have to know how to manage your time and your instrument for each of those phases. If you get tired by the middle of this, there is no way you're going to get away with. If you throw everything in the ornaments at the beginning, by the time you reach the end, people are going to get bored because hey, I already heard it all. What is left to show? So you have to be careful that the emotions and what you're showing them is nice, because at least for the score that we have at hand now, the composer is not giving you too many notations in the sense of the dynamics, because you have like sometimes Verdi and Puccini that tells you affrettando, ritenendo, and here and here and here, con emozione assoluta. You see the score and you have 20 words all over the bars because they want to emphasize, and here I want this and there I want that. In this score that we are watching now, it is in a way simple in the sense that the composer is not giving you so many written instructions, but is appealing to the artistry because the artist needs to know what he's going to do, or she, because this is for a female singer. So she has to know. It's like, I am not going to tell you what to do because
But I hope you're doing well.
you are expected to do it well. You see, it's kind of tricky because many times when the singers don't see too many these notations from the composer, they say, I can do whatever I want. And that is not what it means. It means you have to really study a lot to understand where the melody is coming from and where this is heading to, so that on the side of the public or the audience, they understand where you are taking them. It doesn't mean do whatever you want. So, with that being said, and now that we talked about the staccati, do you want to take it from the staccati? Yeah, because we can't make a pause anywhere, because after this, it's ornaments and ornaments and ornaments, and there comes a trill.
And probably I'm not gonna sing them.
And maybe you're going to say, and we have, maybe we can take it from here. And of course, the word of advice, there are composers that give you the options, or you can sing this line, or you can sing this line. But that can be tricky also. What would you like to share on that, Katia?
Um, yes, it is tricky because you could be tempted to choose the easy one, which is not easy actually. There are less notes, yeah, but it doesn't mean it's easier because you have to take care of the line. Uh, okay, in both cases, your pitch has to be perfect because that's the less that is expected from you as a singer. Okay, but if you are singing less notes, it will be easier to listen if you are not singing what is written or what it should be. When you are singing more notes, uh, if you miss one or two, it's not the idea, but if it happens for any reason, well, it will be more difficult to be heard, probably. Um, I said it's not a point, but it could help. But the thing here is that there are lots of notes, there are many alterations. There is a super high D. So there's no way to do the right. That's my
Basically.
opinion. So my advice is not sing this song.
Let me explain something here. Uh, the term that Katia just used of the alterations, that's for people who have studied music. These guys here, because I didn't explain them in the videos that I did in Essentials for Singers. So these guys here give you information on what notes will have their value altered when played. And that really sounds crazy. What do you mean by what is the value being altered of a note? What is that? Wasn't it a la? Yeah, it is a la. But if there is a number of these guys here, it might be an A flat or it could be sharp. Those are coded here. It tells you which notes are changing their value. Supposedly. Because the composer decided that even though, in Spanish we call it the armatura, la armadura, even though she told you that you're going to change the value of these three, she told herself, no, why don't we change some others? Those are the alterations that Katia was talking about. So not only you have to keep your mind very clear about which notes, this is not a C, it is a Si bemol. This was not an E, it is an E flat. Now besides that, you have to memorize or be very clear that this one is going to change because the composer and there are many composers that do it, which usually makes the life of a singer very miserable. And also,
Yes.
as Katia just explained, just look at the number of notes that you have in just one bar. So this number of notes, ascending, descending, ascending again, descending again, ascending again, then like this effect when song is like this, like it's like that, of course, in pitch. That is the effect that this number of notes does. But after that effect, then you start descending in semitones. Which is way too much to do, and with alterations. I mean, I would say that the composer hates singers because it shouldn't have been written. It wasn't really
Probably
necessary.
because they don't sing, so or they hate us because they can't, or they think it's easy because they can't.
Yeah, we have explained sometimes that sometimes composers are not very realistic on what the human voice can actually do, and this could be the case of this impossible bar to sing because I don't know, maybe not write a piacere because a piacere would be way too much liberty, but she went to extremes. You have your option A, which is very discreet. It looks like a duet of Lucia di Lammermoor. It could be Lucia singing in the first act or the beginning of the second act. That looks very Donizettian, easy. But
This one looks like a very angry Rossini. So I'm not really sure what was in the mind of hers when she said, these are my two options. Maybe in the sense of what we have seen in the melody, maybe
this one makes more sense because the ornaments have not been extreme. So this one make more sense because these ones are strepitous. You come from very controlled ornaments to this ascending, descending, ascending, descending, ascending
But you
fluctuation.
know what? It's talking about mysterious countries, mysterious lands. So that makes that the second choice makes sense to me. And
Yeah.
because I also love to sing plenty of notes per second.
So I don't know. Maybe the advice is if you are more of a light soprano, more of a leggero, maybe your choice would be towards this one, the first option. And if you are more like Katia, expert in singing 1,000 notes per second, maybe you go go for a second. But if you're leggero, like most of leggeros, don't even try this option. This one, there is no way you're going to get away with it.
Now, and finally, if it's a composer's option, it's fine. So choose what makes you feel more comfortable and more confident with yourself.
Yeah, then we have a trill and we exit this first part. She continues, et j'aurais voulu comme elle suivre le même chemin. And now she's being a little nostalgic because she says, I wish I could follow her in her path. She's going back to reality, you see? First I was seeing her, then my own soul traveled with her in the air and the lands. But now I am going back. Et j'aurais voulu comme elle suivre le même chemin. I wish I could travel with her, but I can't follow her. I cannot follow her in her path. Goes back to Je veux passer les rondelles, elle allait à ti, and then go back to the motif that we have seen before, or the words that we had said before. I had seen the bird pass, elle allait, elle allait attire the late with her own wings, and she travels, and not exactly as in the first part, but then goes again for the options. You can choose the one in the upper part, and you can choose the option in the lower one. If you ask me, as an audience, in this one, I would encourage you to do the one that I have highlighted. Because this is your last opportunity in the ornament. So if you want calm in the impossible one above, that is okay. But you have your opportunity here. But if you go calm, much more quieter, much more discreet, as in this one suggested, I feel like people are not going to love your version. Those are my thoughts. What do you think, Katia?
I will always support the highest notes. Yeah.
And I wanted to ask you, as we're reaching almost the end of, or at least we're in the second part, do you have anything that you would like to suggest in terms of emotion, in terms of management of the voice? Because I think we haven't explained it. Or no, yeah, you explained it a couple years ago. Uh, Music is usually in groups of A, repetition, B, and A, B, A. There are these sort of blocks where you construct music.
Mhm.
And usually, when sopranos go for the sort of repetition or go to the same type of construction of A, sometimes with the same words, usually the sopranos go mad and get loose and start doing things that not even written because people have already heard you, and so they say, no, I'm going to transpolate it higher, and this time I'm going to keep this one, and there is not a high C, I'm going to put a high C here, and what is there, I'm going to keep the note for twice the value of that it is written. That's where they start doing these things. Is there any of those variations that you suggest or that you like to do?
No, I'm gonna say this as a joke, but if it is written by a woman, okay? So I think that it's already planned and thought and written with everything that it has to contain. There are ornaments enough, variations enough, and repetitions enough to try to do something extra. I think that it's completely not needed here.
I wish more sopranos follow your advice because I am pretty sure that if I look for one, I'm going to find a soprano who did something. Because it is too low for a soprano to feel comfortable, so I'm pretty sure there is more than one that is singing this higher. I'm pretty sure. Elle allait, elle attire d'elle vers le pays où l'appelle, vers le l'appelle, le soleil, le jasmin, je veux passer l'hirondelle. And then we are approaching the final part because it sounds, the way it was constructed is that for the first time she's going repetitive. You know that in the first part she told us the story. Je veux passer l'hirondelle, I saw her pass and she's crossing lands and she loves the sun and then my soul departs and etc. etc. But now she's repeating, je vais passer l'hirondelle, je vais passer l'hirondelle again. And then we have more ornaments because why not? We are reaching the end. But at this time, since the text is repetitive, you have to be creative so that it doesn't sound repetitive, right?
That's right. And probably for me, the most challenging part is just at the end because of the lowest B flat.
Oh yeah, I hadn't even seen it.
It's horrible because you have there is a rest between the deep B flat and the next high C. But it's a rest that really doesn't count because it's like nothing. So it's connected, that B with that C. That can be pretty challenging. And in the very last part, you already have the scale from the B to the C. Good luck!
You try it 1,000 times. Tell me when you achieve it, because many people are not very realistic. We're talking about a scale that is a little over 2 octaves. But had it not been that low, if you could say, yeah, but my final note is an E, but I am not coming from a B. Or a B flat. So it's because people say, yeah, the opera singers need to have 2 octaves or 2 octaves and a half, as it could be just that easy. No, my man, it matters whether you're coming from here or you're coming from here or you're coming from here. If you're coming from below, those 2 octaves are way more difficult than if those 2 octaves or even 2 octaves and a half are in a much more comfortable area. Because since Katia has explained it a lot of times, the sound has to be homogeneous, that you don't sound too open and too low in the low notes, and that you don't sound too squirky in the high. so that the actual scale, the ascending scale, sounds nice. But you know yourself that you face some challenges because of what your voice can do. So when you look at this, it is not only an ascending scale of a little over 2 octaves. It's a scale that comes from very low, as you say, connected to a high C. Because people can say, but if Katya is very comfortable with the high C, why is it a problem? The problem is not the high C, it's where you're coming from. And as I was looking at the two options, because again, she was very generous and she said, okay, you have two options. You have option A and you have option B. In option A, you don't have a high C connected, but you are close.
Yeah.
Maybe not that bad because maybe people don't know it. But it is different when you ascend than when you descend. You prepare yourself vocally different. And in option A, you are descending. Yeah, the final note is low, but you are descending. The other one, you're starting with the low note and you are ascending. Pretty different preparation. What would you like to suggest for this?
Well, in the first choice, um, it will be probably easier to solve because you're working in the middle part. In the first two ornaments, you're moving in the middle part, then you ascend a little bit and you descend. If you are pretty stable in your middle part, to ascend and then to move down to the B flat shouldn't be a problem. Thinking about not losing your head voice in the deepest notes. That would be the most difficult part, but I think that it's easier. But in my case, for example, I definitely would prefer, obviously, the second choice. Because I prefer to ascend even when it's a higher note. Well, that's more comfortable for me. But it's more complicated also because not just for the last C, but because you have to you are in the middle part, but not for a long time. You just caress, you ascend, and then you go down, middle part again, go down, and then from the bottom of the hell you ascend to relaxing. So, yeah, you need to be really trained in scales, really trained in an elastic voice, in an elastic sound, to feel this like piece of cake.
I'm not sure if anybody would ever call it a piece of cake.
Well, it is. It is because, for example, that are 3 octaves. Uh, so in that case, the voice is flexible and it's not that challenging. But well, finally, it is. Being
Challenging,
honest.
but maybe not impossible.
Yeah, not impossible.
So also it has the same curse as many other songs or pieces that we have reviewed in the past, that it doesn't end with a super high note. It sounds like very calm. In fact, the complete song is not plagued with high notes. Of course, after listening like Me or Olympia or The Queen of the Night, and you know that everything is higher than a high C, you're ba 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 ba, you're here high, and it appears that the song is much lower, and the final note again is. I don't want to say a low note because people are going to say, Ricardo, that can be. It's not a low note, but it is not certainly a high note.
No, it's in middle range.
So, I don't know if people should feel tempted to try even to keep it for longer or to try it higher? Because if you sing it as written, again, if you go for for the first, it also has a very I would even say discreet way to rap. Not long, not high, for a short amount of time. This is the highest you're going to sing. The B has a little more challenges with the thrill and the achucatura there, but again, you just finish with a very discreet note. But, so for people who like Lucia de la Marmure and expecting an E flat or a D sharp or whatever, this feels like you're missing something. And if you're a coloratura soprano, you already feel that you're missing something. So.
Yes, yes. I think that it can be difficult to make it feel like a good ending when you come from the pyrotechnics and taking back this idea, this air of my own thoughts, and I'm just traveling here in my mind. Probably for me, that's the most difficult part.
Yeah, it's like, when you are trying to, like, you are carried away with the emotion and suddenly you have to let go and stop. It's like if you were daydreaming and suddenly you cut the dream. Not like, yeah, I would like to travel with her, but I have to go back to my land. Well, okay, the bird is gone.
Yes, somebody's knocking the door. No.
Yeah, it feels like that. It really feels like that. Well, okay. Anything else that you would like to add in regards to this very beautiful piece of music that we shared today?
Yes, well, it's one of my favorite pieces of music because it's fancy, it's delicate, it's romantic, it has everything. Uh, Treat her with respect, choose what is wise for your voice, feel comfortable, and study a lot.
And as I was mentioning at the opening of the program, I can call it a rarity. You will hardly ever find it someone singing it on a stage or even in records for those sopranos who have gone into studios. Not all of them have their version of this one. So if you find a good version, really love it, really like it. If you're going to sing it, good luck and send us a copy of of how it goes, because there's really a need for singers to do more serious work. I am not telling you to stop singing Lucia, but everybody wants to be Lucia. And how can it be that you just want to be Lucia and you cannot take a look at this one? When, as we have discussed, you have everything. You have emotion and you have vocal challenges that can make you grow as an artist. Okay, with that being said, thank you very much. I forgot to mention something. Today, this is our 12th program of the Spectacular Singing series, which means it's been a year since we started this season.
Oh my God! Jesus! Wow.
So it's been a year for Spectacular Singing. There are still more programs to come. Fortunately, Katia has a huge repertoire for her tesitura. So we will be seeing you soon. Thank you, everybody, and bye-bye.
Bye.
You can follow our channel for the latest updates and more content. Opera We Love Singing, in just one word. Link in the description of the episode.